Hi everyone, let's talk about Teotihuacan, which I just finished a solo playthrough for, and I've also done a two-player playthrough for. If you haven't seen them and you're wondering where all of the game is and why you're not seeing any of it, it's in the playthrough video, it's in the description, and I'll take you over there. So yeah, this is kind of week two of revisiting a game that I played through before and doing the solo mode of it. And I'd say with Teotihuacan, I remember I briefly I played, maybe it might have only been one game of it originally, just so I could kind of mention it in the videos that I did for the original game. And so yeah, it's kind of coming to it fresh and remembering, oh yeah, this is the way this pyramid works, and getting into the groove of it. It involves solo mode, but kind of like a lot of the great solo modes, like the Ultima Factory ones, like for Gaia projects and stuff. There's that initial hurdle of getting used to the flow of it, getting used to the steps that you need to do every time, and remembering to watch out for when the bot gets 10 cocoa, because then he sells the 10 cocoa and gets 3 points, and just things like that. But you're quite quickly in the rhythm of it all, and it all is all laid out in easy steps in the rulebook. But yeah, it's the original game is designed by Danielle Tashini, who was a designer on Zolkin. This is kind of in the same vague world, spiritual successor, that phrase that gets used. And the solo mode, though, is designed by David Turczi, who, mentioned in the playthrough, has designed Kitchen Rush, Anachrony, Days of Fire, Redacted. I can't remember all of the games. He's designed loads of games. You see his probably 30-page game leography on Board Game Geek now. But yeah, he designed the solo mode for this, and yeah, he's does that kind of outreach for a load of extra games, and they're always like it does give you that feeling of not quite that you're playing against a player, but that you are competing against something. It's not somebody just blocking you off or getting in your way or making these actions more expensive. It does feel like it's someone kind of on their own mission, and based on just the way that the pyramid has been constructed and the way that the dice are rolled, it does seem like they're on a certain mission. Like in this game, it was more to do with the Avenue of the Dead and building up resources and cocoa and stuff. Didn't work out particularly well for him. But you have this pyramid of tiles, and you roll two dice, and depending on the roll of that, there's going to be one of the tiles in the pyramid isn't an option for the dice roll, and one isn't in the pyramid. So two actions that aren't going to happen. And that one action is slightly more likely to happen because three numbers would trigger that action. But from that, you can kind of get a bit of a vague idea, just enough to know what might happen, what you need to be wary of, maybe, of if you really want to get something done. And like you would in a multiplayer game, you want to keep track of where the numbers are on the workers, how close they are to ascending, because it's going to make the round shorter and shorter, especially as the game goes towards the final eclipse. You don't want to be caught out there and think that you've got 3 or 4 turns left and just notice that, oh, well, actually, one of my workers is going to ascend and at least one of the bot's workers is going to ascend, so actually I've got loads fewer turns than I thought I did. That is the same as well. But yeah, it's not quite like that. You can kind of see that, oh, that person is going for this, and this, because there's a spread across the pyramid that they might go for any of these actions if they're in the right position to do it. But yeah, you can see that in having rolled different numbers, I did loads in the pyramid, and with a bit of help from the bot, we might have ended the game early. Knowing that the bot was really gunning. Just by rolls of the dice and stuff, happened to be gunning for the same temple that I was hoping to get to the top of. So there was a nice close race between us, even though the bot couldn't have possibly known what I was doing, could it? But yeah, I think it feels really, really good. And then at the end of that, I did manage to get quite a good lead on the bot, but then, as I showed at the end of the playthrough, there's so many little bullet points to, okay, you could tweak this to make it more difficult. And if you're finding it difficult yourself, especially if you're kind of introducing yourself to the game this way, I would kind of recommend playing it multiplayer to start, even if you have to do two-handed multiplayer and play the two games yourself. There's a lot going on just in the standard multiplayer game that you need to get used to. You know, there's all of these different action areas, and seeing how they work together and where you'll go up certain tracks and how you'll score for the eclipses and things. There's a lot to kind of get your head around in the first place without kind of piling the solo the bot rule on top of that. But yeah, it's could be done. But yeah, I think it's a really, really fantastic bot system. Yeah, that again, very, very different. I don't remember seeing anything like this strange pyramid system. And yeah, you get used to flipping the tiles very quickly. And I did find it kind of only occurred to me just before I started filming this that what if there are, you know, someone made some kind of web page or app or something like that, and yeah, they have. You can see the details in the playthrough for a fantastic little app that was made that deserves proper mention. There we go. Thought I could stall long enough for it to reoccur to me, but no, it's Talon Simmons of FullStackCardboard.com who put together the web app that I thought we'll see that in the playthrough, because it's such a kind of, I don't want to say that the system is particularly hard, because like I said, you get into the flow of doing it and you get used to how you rearrange the pyramid and stuff and flip the direction tiles and stuff. But to have all of that done for you, and you can still kind of see what is most likely to happen. And some of the biggest bonuses for me is it is all laid out in the rulebook step by step, but it just comes up on the screen that it's doing the alchemy action, and here are the steps that it needs to take. Almost like a flowchart going through these things, and it's a countdown of when the eclipse is going to happen, and then gives you the step-by-step for the eclipse and the end of the game, and even at the very start of the game tells you you don't even have to shuffle all of this stuff about. These are the temple bonuses you're using, these are the technologies you're using, these are your 4 starting tiles, you don't even need to take them out. This is where everybody's dice should be, including the 2 neutral players, and at the end of every eclipse, it will tell you where the neutral players need to go. There are options in there for, the sudden death eclipse, where you don't get a round's warning when the eclipse happens, it just happens. And for changing the neutral players around every turn. I think, is that from the expansion? I've only played the expansion once and I haven't got it. Or maybe we'll be doing another one. Maybe this will be back in the votes for yet another playthrough with the expansion in it. But yeah, tons of options and things. It's a fantastic little web app that is out there that Talon's made. And yeah, I think that's just makes it even better. It's kind of another thing less to think of. And similarly for the scythe kick, I think I only used that once or twice before I stopped having scythe anymore. But these things, while not essential, it's all perfectly functional and perfectly manageable, just as it comes in its cardboard form. But I really appreciate kind of having another layer kind of smoothed out, having your focus can just be on the game itself and how you are getting on, rather than did I move all of these things right, and did I remember all of these steps. It's all kind of done for you, and the steps of the actual action are laid out for you in the thing itself, and I've really appreciated having that out there. But yeah, you can go back to my original first impressions for the actual game itself. I've really loved it, and I still love it. It's definitely a kind of head in my hands, how am I going to achieve what I want to? But it's the satisfaction of when it all kind of, I was going to say congeals, that's not the right word at all. It's a horrible word to use for it. When it all comes together and you work out the solution, hoping that you actually did. It's so satisfying, and it can go in so many different directions here, whether you're trying to go for those worship actions, whether you're racing up for the temples, whether you're trying to build the pyramid, whether you're trying to race up the Avenue of the Dead and get a load of points for that and get bonuses from the technologies. None of it is none of it's prescripted that you have to do this particular thing to do well in it. It seems to me that there's so many different avenues, and maybe we'll get to the expansion eventually, but that adds even more modules and even more extras and even more variability. That the game has got a ton of that as well. I don't think I used loads of these last time. The action boards themselves, it comes with a load of modular ones. They're printed onto the board, but it comes with, apart from action boards 1 and 8 that stay in the same place, these are all modular and can be randomized in their position, and the temple bonuses can, and the discovery tiles are always going to be different. The worship tiles in the palace are always going to be different. The tiles that have come out, the decorations that have come out, everything is so variable. And it's the game would still be great if it just had its standard setup, but it's like a completely different, fresh kind of puzzle to solve of what connections can I see, what am I going to go for, and then let's just go there and hope that it all works out. I love Teotihuacan though, and hopefully you've seen the playthrough and have decided for yourself whether or not it will be one for you. I've run out of the ending. Thank you very much for watching, and hopefully you'll enjoy one of the other many playthroughs on the channel. Some will be coming up on the screen shortly when I stop talking, and I'm going to do that now. Bye everyone.